Hello everybody, welcome back to Daily Kerbal, Episode 2. I'm an idiot, because apparently, I forgot about this, the contract system is unlocked right from the very start, and I could have picked up a contract, I believe, to launch our first vessel. I did not do that, so as a result, I'm hoping the achievements that we got, Otherwise, well, we can start doing things now. I might as well start picking up contracts. I can take 2 of them total, and escaping the atmosphere for today. What else do we have? Orbit, well, we're still a bit away from actually orbiting something, so let's see what else we got. We got focused observational survey of Kerbal. That requires, yeah, it requires us to fly to a very now, so we'll skip all these observational surveys and stuff, and let's take a look at this, the swivel liquid fuel engine. We intend to be flying over Kerbal, so we might as well take a look at this. Between the altitudes of 3,000 and 9,000 meters, 380 and 580 meters per second, that seems a little fast for that altitude. All that for that one, but in between I think it could work out. Let me quickly take a look at the rest of them. We've got a more trivial one here. The Flea solid fuel booster at the launch site. That is something that takes literally no effort. We can do that right at the launch site, so I'm going to pick that one up instead. And then let's construct a new space module, a new spacecraft that can actually do that. We're looking for the Flea solid fuel booster. Which one is that? That is the literal only solid fuel booster that we have right now. Okay, so same command module. Then we're going to have a parachute on the top, and then just to sort of test the waters. Let's see if this radial mounted antenna kind of looks ugly that way. Yeah, there we go. Rotate it on like that. Let's see if that one works mid-flight. Apparently, it seemed like it wouldn't work mid-flight due to, I don't know, air resistance or something, but I don't think this, yeah, looking at it, this antenna I don't think requires extending, so maybe it'll work anyway. Also, during our last unlock, we also got the thermometer, the too hot thermometer. So, as usual, I am going to pack 2 science mystery goo canisters on this, as well as a total of, I believe we require, to get the maximum amount of science out of this, 3 thermometers, right? One for the launch site, one for the flight, and one for wherever it is that we land. That's how we get the maximum amount of science out of this. Then we will separate this final stage from the second stage, which we now actually do not have. Oh right, excuse me for a second. This is going to become Moho 2. Just get off of the ground and put some distance between us and the planet. There we go. I'm almost certain that I misspelled something in there. I guarantee you that I'm going to misspell things the very moment that I start putting stuff on the internet. Just try to keep in mind that I'm English is a second language to me. I mean, I learned it from a very young age, but yeah, spelling has always been a difficult part for me. Anyway, let's get the basic rocketry section, which is a new solid fuel booster, a new liquid fuel engine, and fuel tank model. We still have 23 science left. That is enough for literally one of these new techs, and let's see what they are. One of them is more propulsion. It's a very large solid fuel booster, a slightly larger liquid fuel tank, and another engine. Well, we don't really need that. Radial decouplers might be useful at the beginning, but this, I believe, is what we want early on. Yeah. Let's go for survivability first. Again, because of I'm cheesing science here at the start. I don't want my lack of parts to be the reason that I'm not progressing fast enough. So now that I have that, I will place this barometer. And I will do the same thing. I will place 3 barometers onto my pod, like so. Again, one for the landing site, one for the flight, and one for whatever it is that we land. I said landing site, but I think I meant to say takeoff site. Anyway, second, we shall add... I will put 2 of these liquid fuel tanks and a single engine. That's going to be our second flight, second stage right there. Third stage, this is what's going to get us off the ground, and this is hopefully going to be enough to get us off of the atmosphere, because we also need to test this, remember. We need to test the flea. Now, I'm having doubts as to how high this thing can actually fly, because I really suck at numbers, and I'm not really good at calculating just how much, how far the thrust is going to throw us. But, like I said, trial and error, right? Now, I'm gonna keep Valentina. I prefer if Valentina was our first astronaut in space. So this is basically the Alan Shepard launch at this point. The first, it is the Alan Shepard launch. I was gonna say that the first man in space, the first man that we know returned from space, was a Russian gentleman by the name of Yuri Gagarin, but his launch was combined with an actual orbital flight. The first man in space was actually launched into orbit, and Alan Shepard was just sort of popped up into space and then dropped back down. His flight lasted a total of 15 minutes. He experienced a total of 3 minutes of zero gravity, so he was kind of jokingly named the first astronaut of the American space program, because he was the first person actually out of the atmosphere. That's what we hope Valentina is going to be this time. I did not put any aerodynamic parts on this. Let's hope we don't need them. We shouldn't. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point. Control is not an issue here. Just in case, though, I am going to use our stability assist system. We don't have a re-entry control system right now, so that's pointless. Let's throttle up. Shouldn't we need to throttle too high because the fuel booster is going to do this first now. I seem to remember that all of our parameters are set for the launch, for the testing of the flea solid fuel booster. So I'm going to take the temperature reading. I'm going to take the barometer reading. Log pressure data. There we go. That's all the science we can collect from here. I already have an EVA, which I didn't take, by the way, last time I landed at KSC. Damn it! Wow. Yeah, this I'm out of shape when it comes to this. It's fine. Let's just launch. The reason I wanted to check was I don't know if I just launch the engine or do I have to run test, which is the same as launching it. Okay, well, up we go then. See how high this thing takes us. Fuel is out. I am separating the stage, and away we go. I'm gonna decelerate the fuel, decelerate our speed a bit, just to kind of conserve our fuel, see how high we can make it. Just keep going up. Let's take our second science readings, by the way. Log temperature, keep it. Log our barometer, keep it. I don't think this matters anymore because we've already taken it, but it's it's +1 science, and that's it. We've reached our max speed, and we're still, we're going 400 meters per second here, above it. I don't know how high this is going to take us. I do know it is not going to take us high enough. This will not be our Alan Shepard launch after all. It's okay, we'll do another one afterwards that will be. And then Valentina actually is going to get to be the first person in outer space. Anyway, we can detach this now. Don't need that. Just let the thing fly. Any crew report perhaps that you can take? There is. Kerbin's upper atmosphere. Sure, transmit that. Yep, and it's like I thought. This antenna works while flying. So this antenna is the one we're going to be using in the future. Okay, we're still headed upward. I mean, we're up pretty high. You can see the curvature of the planet. I'm sure flat Earthers would still find a way to explain, oh no, it's flat, it's definitely flat. Well, I don't know, man. Looks pretty round to me. And we are going down. Not yet escaped the atmosphere goal, not yet. We have, however, broken an altitude record, which is cool. We've also completed the test of the fleet, which is also cool. I do believe it's safe to deploy our parachutes. I'm just going to do that. I think. Did I not disarm? Okay, so it's armed. We just got a minimum pressure. Alright. Okay, so we just, at this point, we just kind of let it drop. And we might actually land in the water this time. There it goes. It's going to be a close one. But I think we're still going to end up... Nope, it's going to be on land. I think, yeah, just barely, but it's going to be on land. Bring us down a little faster. That's the engine part that we detached. Oop, and we got caught. Alright. Down, down, down we go. Where are we now? Kerbal Shores. Alright. Where's our shadow? There it is. Alright, let her drop. Nice and easy. Now, let's not mess this up again. Crew report. Keep that. EVA. Take the EVA report and keep that. Now you can board. And it's yes, so we did not need a spacesuit to get here, but we did anyway. Log the pressure data, keep it. Log the temperature data, keep it, and take a mystery goo observation. Keep that as well. Alright, and we're good. Recover the vessel. Now, this time, I am actually going to try and make a spaceship that'll take us to outer space. I'll just get us out of the atmosphere. I want to get that done with, and then I'm going to call it quits for today. Before I do that, we can buy both of these things, and I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to buy both of these. And 13 science is not nearly enough to get us anything. Doesn't matter, though. This was Moho 2. I mean, kind of a disappointment, if I'm being honest, but what are you going to do? Anyway, at this point, we don't need 3 of these because we don't need any more from the launch pad, and we also don't need 2 mystery goo containers, but removing one would kind of screw with my symmetry setup here, so we're just going to keep 2 anyway. Here's what we're going to do. First of all, we're going to add more fuel. This was the amount of fuel that we had previously. We're going to double it. And we're going to place the engine that has the higher thrust. We're not concerned about control right now. We want to get as far up as possible. And instead of putting a single solid fuel booster at the bottom of this, how about what other stuff? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's part of another update that they did. Remember that pods seems to be able to re-enter the atmosphere regardless of the overheating and the burn up and re-entry. So what's this? Land distance record of 3,000 meters. Wow, that's something else. It's 3 whole kilometers we went away from KSP. All right, so yeah, we're just going to put that heat shield on the bottom of this to make sure that we don't burn up if we do actually end up getting out of the atmosphere, because that would kind of suck. And then what we're going to do is, just to be absolutely sure, I am going to place a... This might be overkill. It might be overkill, but we can afford it, so I'm just going to say screw it, and let's see how high up we can get. I'm going to put this, and then I'm going to put a total of 3 more solid fuel boosters on the bottom of this one. That's in the center, right? I believe that's in the center. Yeah, that's fine. And we're going to put some of these. There we go. And then we're going to add some aerodynamic parts to this, just make sure that we fly properly while we're out there. I think we only need some on the bottom, but let's put some on this stage as well, just in case. Alright, like so. And some cones on the top of that. Okay, staging. These three fire. I want all of these to fire simultaneously. These three just give us a little extra thrust at the beginning. Then those three detach. This thing in the center keeps firing. And this one detaches. And this engine can simultaneously start as we detach that. That's fine. Then this detaches, then the parachute. Perfect. Alright, Valentina. This is it. This is your big break. All three. Get out of that damn Atmo already. There we go. Period. Alright, we're good. Let's do it. Let's not do it. Alright, how many parts? How much did I overdo this by? 4 parts. I overdid it by 4 parts. Well, that's easy enough. We take this off. And we take... we take off 1 mystery goo canister. How do we do this? Worried about my symmetry, people. It matters. I'm going to put the antenna here. The antenna is fairly close enough to the ship's fairing. I'm going to assume that that's not... doesn't cause that much drag. Alright. Save it again. How about now? Now can we launch it? Nope, the mass exceed. We are exceeding maximum mass. Yep, we are. Okay. Forgetting that that's a part of this early stage. So I guess what we'll do is we'll just put the smaller one on. Still too heavy. Well, the obvious solution to this, save and continue. How much does it cost to upgrade the launch pad? 50,000 to upgrade the launch pad. Well, we're not doing that good on money just yet. Speaking of which, I think it might be a good idea to pick up a new contract now that we finished off that one. I'm just going to do this. Save us a lot of trouble in the future. I don't like these kinds of limits keeping me back from, you know, doing what I want to do. Anyway, swivel, liquid fuel engine. Or we're not going to be using that heat shield, so there's no point. Mark 16 parachute in flight over Kerbal. At that altitude, we're probably going to end up going quicker. So I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to take the swivel test. You know what? There we go. I'm going to do the swivel test. I'm going to take that one. And then just make sure that the liquid fuel engine that I have on this one is the swivel. Tis not. Tis the Reliant. Well, let it be the swivel then. Now that we have a higher weight limit, I think we can switch this out for the Thumper. And then do the trilateral symmetry, put that stuff on there, and then put these winglets back on. There we go. Low 3. Alright, we good this time? Yay! Alright, Valentina, this is it. This is your big moment. It'll be the first Kerbal in space. I'm sure if Kerbal is the adjective, what the name of the actual race is, but I'm just going to call her a Kerbal. Alright, throttle up, and the staging is out of whack again. Alright, well, hopefully this should be the only time I use this vessel anyway. These three, that one, yeah, okay, that's good. Alright, here we go. Launch. And we have liftoff. Alright, our acceleration is maybe a little bit too fast. We're going into supersonic while we're still in very dense atmosphere. Anyway, that's the reason we have the winglets. Solid fuel boosters have run out of fuel. Jettisoned them. The thumper should be running out of fuel shortly. We are also tipping, I am noticing, in the backwards direction, which is weird because I would assume that the drag and the weight would pull us in the other direction, but oh well. Lost our thumper. Now, as long as we've started along this trajectory, might as well see just how far into orbit we can get. I'm fairly certain now that we are going to break. We're going to get out of the atmosphere. It is practically certain at this point. We're still headed up. We still have fuel. Yeah, we're doing this. Let's just see how close we can get to orbiting. Escape velocity over Kerbin, I believe, is it's a very high apoapsis. Escape velocity over Kerbin is something around 2,200 meters per second, something along that line. Anyway, I'm curious. I don't actually want to enter into orbit with this vessel because once we do that, I don't think we're ever going to get back. But let's not forget about our science. Let's log the temperature data. We're in space now. Keep that. Let's check the mystery goo. Keep that. Check the barometer. So yeah, we're in a vacuum, so there's literally no atmospheric pressure. Take the crew report. Transmit the crew report to get on and disembark while on Kerbal surface. Astronaut. Oh, can't do EVAs yet. Okay. Well, that's fine. I'm gonna speed this up till we get to our apoapsis, or at least close to it. Like yay far. That's fine. We slowed down now to below 600 meters per second, and let's see how far we can push this orbit. I doubt we're going to be able to circumvent the planet. This is kind of where we're you know, approaching a little bit more to what a Gagarin launch was, as opposed to a Shepard launch. I'm not completely familiar with the actual specifics on Gagarin's spaceflight. Like if he actually did a full circle of the planet, or if he just kind of got into a suborbital spaceflight that was, you know, if he like traveled on an arc or something. I might have to check that out sometime. The thing about the Russian program, though, is that unlike the American program, which was literally born out of public interest that was brought around by, you know, people parading the idea of flying to the moon to the public, the Russian space program was kept under wraps very much, and we are taught that Yuri Gagarin is the first man in space. I'm somewhat skeptical as to that, because the Soviet Union in particular was notorious for its very small value that it placed on human life as far as its results were concerned. Yuri Gagarin was the first person that we know to have successfully returned from space, is how I would put it. As to how many people may have, you know, died, we certainly know of one creature that gave its life to pave the road for Gagarin to get out there. Poor Laika, the dog that was the first creature in space, didn't survive. Anyway, we burned out our fuel, and I've been rambling for a bit now, so I'm just gonna separate. I'm gonna let that fly, and then I'm just gonna speed us back up to the surface. Turn us toward retrograde, actually. Apologies, by the way, if you're new to Kerbal Space Program and you have no idea what it is that any of these things are that I'm doing, but yeah, I could do that, I suppose. Like, if explanations are required as to what all these indicators mean. I just kind of assume that, you know, if you're looking for tutorials on how to play Kerbal Space Program, you're going to go to somebody a little bit more established than myself. Much better established than myself. Because that's where I take my information from. I mean, I'm not discovering anything new in this game, that's for certain. But, you know, the basics of this are, right, we're on an orbital... We are on a path through space at the moment, and on this nav ball, if I spin the thing around, then you got this little Mercedes symbol. this is my retrograde vector, which means this is the direction that I am moving away from. If we consider that the nose of the ship is the direction that the ship is pointing, then I am moving away from the direction that the ship is pointing, and the prograde vector is the direction that I am headed in. Now the nose is pointed towards it, right? So that's what those two things mean. And then you've got your normal, your anti-normal vectors, and the other vectors that you use to adjust your space your trajectory around whatever planet you happen to be orbiting. That's the basics of what you find on the nav ball. As to, actual orbital flight path manipulation and all that, well, we'll get to that as soon as I actually manage to get into orbit, which, considering it's been a while, I'm going to turn the SAS off right now because aerodynamics should take over from this point. And now, this is where we find out if I have just killed poor Valentina by sending her back to Kerbin on an angle that is way too steep. Because she is, keep in mind, she is headed, some more noob-friendly talk then, she is headed from an environment where there are literally no particles into like an atmosphere where there are suddenly a bunch of particles. You can't travel. Yep, there we go. It's starting to shake. I'm not pleased with this. But the heat shield is surviving. There we go. Okay, we survived the re-entry, so that's good. Parachute is still red, so I'm not deploying it yet. We are very close to the bottom, though. Okay, there we go. Good. So it looks like she's going to survive. So when you're traveling through space at ungodly speeds, I'm traveling like roughly 6 times the speed of the maximum speed limit on the highway, for example, and decreasing since. Just to kind of put it in perspective, there's not much around us to kind of show that, but that's how fast I was going. And going that fast, all of a sudden running into air, it's like a brick wall, basically. Even though the air particles are very dense, what I can equate it to is imagine what happens when you jump headfirst into a pool of water, right? You're flying pretty fast through the air, and then the moment you hit the water surface, then you start to slow down. It's the same thing. You're headed from moving out of a low-density environment into a high-density environment, and then in space, what happens is all that heat around the ship. But that's why we put heat shields on the bottom. These crafts were designed to survive conditions like this. I believe we did transmit our crew report. We did. Okay, so we can take another one. Once we hit the surface, there we go. Come on. Crash. Okie dokie. Second pressure check. Sweet. I did not bring with me. Yeah, so that's the reason I need the second one. Alright, well, we're going to be landing in the water plenty of times anyway, so that's not an issue. We're going to log the temperature data. Keep that. I'm going to take a crew report. No need to transmit it. EVA report. Keep. Board. And that is going to do it for our very first space flight. This is technically our very first space flight because the vessel did go into space, albeit for, a pretty brief period. We were out there longer than Shepard was. I think we were out there for a shorter time than Gagarin was, but that's right about me. Right in the middle of the ground, right in the middle. Just perfectly average. No XP gain for some reason. I guess it's because the next XP she gains is probably going to be when she orbits something. And that's slowly what we're going to be working towards. I also completely forgot to test the swivel at the right moment. But that's okay because, we're going to be doing plenty of space flights afterwards. For now, I'm going to take the Orbit Kerbin contract as something that we're going to be working towards. I'm also going to pick up some stuff off of the science tree. Specifically, I believe what is important at this point... If orbiting is something that we're really serious towards, then I think that we can only get one of these. So I'm going to skip on the opportunity to get a lot of science at the moment for just, being able to pave the way to properly establish orbital paths. Rocketry, I think at this point, this Terrier engine, it's got a very good very good propulsion in vacuum. So we're going to take that. That's going to be our science purchase for the day. And thank you once again for watching the Daily Kerbal. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to voice your enjoyment or criticism in whatever way that you see fit with all the tools that YouTube provides to you for this. And if you're interested in seeing me do more of this in the future, then subscribe to the channel and you will always receive a notification when I upload new videos. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.